Like, what purpose would it serve to continually beat your own ass for the rest of your life for screwing up? Like, what purpose would it serve?
It just keeps you stuck.
It keeps you tethered
really
to
does.
the problem that
It
caused
does.
this in the first place.
Right.
At some point, we have to be ready to move on from them.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Till the Wheels Fall Off. I'm Matt.
I'm Paige.
I'm feeling a little under the weather, so Paige is going to take this episode. Before we get started, I just wanted to ask one thing. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show and leave us a review. It helps us tremendously. If you've ever benefited from the show in some way, if you've ever found it hopeful, that's one thing that we would ask that you could do us a favor on. Just leave us a review, follow the show. Extremely helpful. Today
It helps other people too.
Yeah,
Find us.
Other people can find it and you help them. It's like paying it forward. It's the best way to pay it forward. Costs you nothing. Takes just a moment of your time. We'd really, really appreciate it.
Yep.
Today, we're going to be talking about what to do if you've made a mistake and how to bounce back from that. Our last episode was about being petty. We had some hilarious responses from people.
Yes, we did.
Had some heartfelt responses from people too. I think a lot of people recognized themselves within that episode. And we didn't want to just tear people down again. Like, what do you do now? Okay, let's say that you've made a mistake, whether it's being petty or your delivery or tone in an argument, or if you're someone like me who has spent 12 years now trying to come back from screwing up. A lot of people get stuck in the shame and they beat themselves up and they just tear themselves apart. But how do you really bounce back from making a mistake and grow? That's what we're talking about today with some personal stories, how we both got through this because we handle this in vastly different ways.
Yes, we do.
Paige handles this in probably a much more relatable way to listeners.
Maybe they will do more of what you do.
We'll find out.
I don't know.
But you won't know until you stick around and listen. So,
Wait, first of all, are you
Yeah.
going to keep going? Can I say something?
Yeah, say something.
So you just celebrated 12 years of sobriety.
I did.
Woo, woo. I'm so proud of you.
Thank
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you for becoming the man you promised to be. And today is actually your birthday, which y'all are going to see this a couple of days after his birthday, but share the love, like show some love, show him some love because you deserve it. You're pretty awesome, babe.
Thank you. I don't know how to take compliments well, so I feel like a kid that everyone's singing happy birthday to at the table and he sits there awkwardly.
Like awkward, like.
But a lot of people have reached out and I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much for showing me love. It means the world to me, even if I don't know how to express myself when it comes to that.
I think you do well. You do okay. You just say thank you.
Thank you. Thank y'all. I really appreciate it. Yeah, yesterday was really cool. I didn't plan on my sobriety date being the day before my birthday. It just that's just the way life happened. That's the way cards played out. But it's cool to have back-to-back celebrations like that.
I went to the treatment facility on your birthday. It was right after you had, I don't think I went the first day that you were there. Maybe I went and dropped something off. I don't remember, but I know that they let me see, or they let you see me, or you snuck your way in there because it was your birthday.
That. They told me to go in there and say hello and then come right back.
He wasn't supposed to see me.
That was like the
a big
facility
thing.
rule, but a counselor was like, hey, your wife's right there. You can go say hi.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went in there and said hello. And they let us talk on the phone too, I think.
Yeah. That's what it was. I don't even remember much anymore. It was so long ago.
I barely remember it. Remember you were wearing like a sundress.
You remember I was wearing something? You remember what I was wearing? No,
Yeah,
not
you had
that
a dress
day.
on.
I don't think I did. No, the day that I came and saw you, like that Sunday, it was like the family thing. I did wear a cute dress.
Maybe that's what it was.
And I came with Sydney.
Oh, by the way, if you hear my mic doing something weird, like cutting out all of a sudden, it's because I'm using my mute button to prevent from coughing and
You still might hear him cough though, because
breaking your
it'll go
speakers.
into my microphone. I'm actually kind of impressed you haven't started coughing yet. Are you holding it in?
so hard. Trying so hard to hold it in.
I can tell. Good job. Good job. All right, let's go ahead and get into this episode because I don't think people want us to have this conversation. I'm wearing shorts. That's funny. I don't ever wear shorts. Okay. So we do have a slightly different way of how we handle when we make mistakes. Bouncing back. Yes, you have taught me so much on how to let things go, but still take accountability and not sit in your feelings for too long. That's just emotional regulation if we're getting down to it. Like that's kind of what we're trying to accomplish here is emotional regulation. But I know that for me, I can easily, or I used to at least easily spiral into shame whenever I would make a mistake. I make a mistake with my kids. I yell at them. I have a bad tone. I will say, I'm sorry, but then I beat myself up big time. Like I will say, you're such a bad mom. How could you do that? You know better. Your tone was all off. You were really mean. You were hateful. Why would you treat them like that? And when I look at it from afar, it's not it's what we all make these kinds of mistakes. Like we're all making mistakes as parents. It's not perfect. We're not perfect. But when I'm in it, I have really high standards for myself. So I beat myself up and I get sucked into this shame. And sometimes it's hard to get out of it.
So it comes from a place of having a high standard.
Yes.
I hear you there. Do you think that standard came from you, or do you think that was set into motion at some point earlier in your life?
Yes. I think it's both. I think that it did. I mean, my parents, I guess, had some high standards for us, growing up, telling that I needed to be a certain way, I guess.
Very strong values in the family
very strong values.
system.
Yes. But maybe it carried into adulthood, but also I just kind of feel like it's part of me, kind of who I am, that I want to have high standards.
I would consider you a bit of a perfectionist.
Yeah, I am.
In that regard,
yes,
where your standards are really, really high, and you make so few mistakes that when you do,
that's bullshit.
You kick your own ass. So
Can you
hard.
not?
What? That you don't make mistakes?
I'm
not being facetious at all.
No, I'm not saying.
You're really good about being consistent.
But I think I do. I think I make more mistakes than you claim. Like I think that I remember in treatment they told you to not put me on a pedestal. Do you remember that?
No,
you don't remember that conversation.
Listen.
This was whenever we were with your counselor.
Okay.
We were having a conversation and she said, she told you to stop putting me on a pedestal. And she asked me, Paige, what does that mean? Like, why shouldn't he be doing this? And I honestly couldn't answer that question.
No, he needs to be listening to me more.
I was like, why? I don't know. This is an interesting, I really did not know how to answer that. It was a weird question, but I can't believe you don't remember her telling you that.
No.
Maybe it's because you didn't, maybe you should hold me accountable more. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Like in a way of like, don't protect me from my F-ups. Don't protect me from having those uncomfortable emotions because you know me, you know that I can spiral. You know that, right? Do you think that you don't say things to me because you know that I can spiral?
I don't say much to you when you screw up because I know that you already know that you've screwed up and you don't need me reminding you that you've screwed up because it will not necessarily benefit because you're your own worst enemy. There's nothing I could say that would be constructive necessarily to make you recognize that you've made a mistake because there's no one who's tougher on you in this world than you. So if I say something to you, it's like beating a dead horse, I guess.
Okay.
And kicking someone when they're down. If I ever do say something, it's generally in the motivational sense or encouragement sense to remind you not to beat yourself up. And to let you know that you're loved and it's okay to make mistakes sometimes. Sometimes though, you get a little haughty about it. Like you can get on a high horse about not making mistakes. And so you feel like, I don't know, sometimes it bleeds into other people too. Like other people can't make mistakes because you don't make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it gets dangerous because then when you do make a mistake, then you label yourself a hypocrite.
Yeah.
And you kick your own ass for it. And like, I don't know, I guess just to avoid like sending you into a spiral, I generally just I know that you know.
Yeah.
And so you don't need me reminding you necessarily. But if I feel like you haven't understood it, like if I feel like it's over your head, I'll say something.
Yeah, you do. And you'll say it in a kind way and you'll deal with my haughtiness, as you say. Like you'll deal with it if I snap back or something. You're like, okay, I know that it stung and she went off, but I know that she's going to correct it now. Like that's what shame does for me too. I use it as fuel in that way to where you're not making me feel a certain way, but you'll say something to me and I'm like, oh, that kind of pissed me off. It hit me hard. So I'm going to not clap back, but I will say something like, okay, well, I just fucking suck, right? Like I just suck. I'm not good at this. I can't do that. And then I end up changing over time. Like I take that, I take it and I use it as a learning opportunity.
Question here. Do you think that changed? Is that different now than it was early on when my mistakes were still very fresh, still very warm? And I don't have a lot of at the time I didn't have a lot of track record of doing the right thing and being someone you could trust. And I guess being someone that you would listen to about making mistakes, because it's really tough, if you're someone who makes mistakes all the time, listening to someone about mistakes, it's like the pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that it's different now than it was then? I'm trying to remember back when we would have fights or conversations way back when, do you take me more seriously now than you did back then? Because I'm thinking from a listener's perspective, is it tough to take critique or criticism, or even if it's constructive, from someone who is very recently coming off of making mistakes or still making mistakes? Is it tough?
Yeah, because there's no respect there. You lose respect. So when there's not respect there, you're not going to be able to take them seriously or take their advice seriously, because you know that they you can't tell me what to do when you're not even owning your own shit.
Yeah, but it also doesn't make them wrong either.
No, it doesn't make them wrong. That's true. So
it's just tough when the source is not so credible.
Right. But you can still take what they say and think like, ooh, well, maybe what they're saying does, speak to me. Maybe it is true. Maybe it is something that's going on within me and I can do something about it.
But it's tough because sometimes it's total bullshit and it's just deflection or projection or any number of defense mechanisms.
But that's what happens in these relationships. It gets really cloudy because you don't know where reality is anymore. You don't know if what they're criticizing is real or not, because there are times where it's bullshit.
You're right. Because I think way back, I've made mistakes so often that it was Bill Burr. He's a comedian. He's got this bit where he talks about him and his wife and their dynamic that they have. He's like, we're always working on me. It's always me that we're working on. You would think that she was like a finished product under, bulletproof glass in a museum because she's so perfect. We're always working on me. Mm-hmm. And it's funny. It's a facetious way of saying that generally there's a more mature person in the relationship and one that needs more work, which I think is pretty accurate.
Right.
I obviously needed more work, but the other person obviously isn't perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. We could always improve in some sense, but it's really difficult, I think, when you're the one who's always being worked on. Like, how much are you taking what they have to say with a grain of salt versus, really listening to it? Because you also have to understand that perspective is oftentimes broken whenever you're the one who's always being attacked. Mm-hmm. Sometimes what you're saying back is just tit for tat, petty bullcrap. Yeah. You're fighting about. It's like, you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you back. It's almost petty, like back to the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
So like, how much of that's true, how much of it's not? I don't know. For me, generally when people say things that really sting, like I feel it and I can like, oh, there's some truth behind that one because that one really hurt.
Sometimes that's not true though. And we've talked about that before. You and I have, where it's like, if you get that sting, and I've heard that you should dig deeper. Dig deeper into that, because it means that there's something going on with you. And I don't necessarily believe that that's true. Sometimes that's not true. I just think we need to like self-reflect on a lot of things, but it doesn't mean that what they said was true. What about whenever you were in early sobriety and you were working on a lot of stuff and I wasn't? Would you take advice from me back then?
Yeah.
I didn't feel like you did.
Yeah, about a lot of things, but there are some things that I knew that you hadn't gotten to yet, but I also figured that you would come to your own conclusion about that.
Yeah.
Oh, you should make a point we don't need to talk about this right now, but at some point about how difficult it is for you to accept when I've learned something and it wasn't from you. How pissed off you get when I hear it from someone else and it makes sense, but from you it doesn't. And like
yeah, that is definitely a character defect that I have. We will have that conversation another day.
You don't want to have it right now? I want to get into it now.
Okay. You want to?
Sure.
All right, cool. We're just going to have a conversation about this.
All right. So if let's say there's a lesson that's been tough for me to learn. I'm trying to think if there was something.
I don't know. Maybe growing up, getting sober, doing the fucking right thing for 10 years.
It's a good example. We'll just go with that. It's a weird example. I don't know why you would say that, but yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, let's just say it's something like that. And then I come to this realization via something I've read or something that a friend has told me or by some other means. And when I come to her and tell her, like, I think I get it. Like, I understand it. Like, I listened to this person and I heard this thing and now I understand. She gets so pissed off at me because she's been saying it to me for
years,
quite some time, and she's like, I've been saying this shit to you for the last year, 5 years, whatever. And then you hear, whoever say it. And all of a sudden now it's gospel and it's truth and you're willing to listen. And you take a lot of offense to that.
I take it personally.
Yeah,
I do. And I've worked on that a lot because I was told by somebody very special to me, whenever you got sober, I was, and you were in recovery or in treatment, I was kind of pissed because I was like, they're teaching him things that I have like been trying to say to him for a long time. Like, this is common sense shit. Like, what are we doing? Why is he just now doing this when I've been trying to tell him? And this person told me it doesn't matter how he figured it out as long as he figured it out. And that was powerful to me, and that stuck with me. And I still have that in the back of my mind whenever anything like that happens. And I've recognized in myself the same thing where you've told me things for years or for a long time, and like, why can't, and I had to figure it out on my own, or somebody else or something would happen and it would click. Like, it doesn't mean that I disrespect you or I don't respect your opinion. It just meant that I wasn't ready to like understand it at the time that you were trying to tell me.
Oh, you don't have to tell me that.
I know. I'm telling listeners, damn it. I'm trying to own my shit.
Usually the way it goes, whenever she figures these lessons out,
I apologize to you.
You're met with grace and understanding and like gratitude that you were able to learn this lesson. I'm happy for you, like genuinely happy for you that you were able to learn it.
Yeah.
If anything, I beat myself up because I'm like, I wish I could have been a better communicator in some way.
But that's not what it's about.
I'm not mad at you because you didn't listen to me.
Well, I don't think it's like, I'm not mad that you didn't listen to me. It's more of just like, well, why couldn't you pick it up when I tried to tell you, I guess. I guess it is kind of self-centered, just thinking about myself, about like, it should be, you should listen to me because you're my partner or whatnot. But I don't know. It just stung whenever you would hear it from somebody else. But that's just not being mature about it, honestly.
I mean, aren't there unteachable lessons in life in a lot of ways? Like, there are bits of wisdom that are as old as time, and we have all heard them. Like, just an example that comes to the top of my head is that money won't buy happiness.
Yeah.
And we all think
what doesn't kill you makes you strong.
We all think money will solve money problems. Don't get me wrong, but it will not solve all of your problems. But you can tell someone that forever, and they won't learn it unless they find themselves with enough money to take care of their money problems, and then they understand it, and then they're like, "Oh, I get it now. I don't have a special some kind of mental makeup that makes me immune to that lesson. I had to just learn it on my own." Even though we heard it and we even accept some of these things to be true, they're lessons that you have to learn on your own. And I think that a lot of the things that we tend to beef about are generally those types of lessons. It's not like recipe disagreements or something like add this type of flour to the cookies and I don't listen. Yeah. It's whatever big stuff. It's like,
it's things that it's a life lesson. It's things that you have to experience on your own and try to figure out on your own.
Yeah.
And not have somebody tell you exactly what to do.
I would just say my advice would be to anybody, if you've got someone like this in your life, like I love you and I want you to learn. There's nothing I love more than watching you win and succeed and figure things out on your own. I'm just grateful when you do it. And so I just drop the breadcrumbs over time. I know the answer and I could fix your problem for you, but I know as well as anybody that me knowing the solution isn't going to fix it for you. You have to come to your own understanding of what that means through your own experiences for it to even resonate enough for you to change.
Right. And that's kind of what we do within this podcast and in this area of
There's
our
a lot
lives.
of unteachable lessons we discuss.
Yeah, it is. It's about like, you're going to learn this, and how we tell people like, you can't talk to your partner into getting help. It just doesn't work that way. It's all about them living this life of trying to figure it out on their own, and whenever enough is enough, and figuring it out. No words are going to help them get there.
Right. So many people are going to hear that and be like, oh, all right, well, challenge accepted. I'm different. I can communicate better than you, and I will figure this out. And then eventually they'll come to the understanding, oh shit, that's right. That's correct. You can't do that. They've got to figure it out on their own.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a fun one in this house.
Hey, I've gotten better. I'm working on it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand the frustration.
I'm aware of it.
It's beyond frustrating when you see someone that you love struggling and you have the answer and you have information that could freaking basically solve every problem they have. Yeah. And you're just unwilling to accept that as fact because they're still on a journey of trying to figure it out on their own.
Yeah.
They're experimenting still.
You do that with me all the time. You do that all the time. You get really frustrated because you're like, I know the answer to this, but I'm not going to give you the answer to it because you're not ready to understand it. You're not there yet, but I know that you're going to figure it out one day because you've proven to me over the years that you're going to figure these things out.
Yeah.
I've built that trust up. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right. That's a fun exit off the highway. Let's get back on it.
Okay. So we're going to kind of talk about the difference between a mistake and a pattern, because a lot of the times, like we said earlier, I get into these mistakes and then I'll just stick in it and I'll be ruminating, or I'll just think that I'm such a bad person or whatever. And then I think it's a pattern when in reality, it's not really a pattern, but we're going to go into this. We want you to figure out like what type of mess up you would be dealing with and how you feel like you can get out of that and how to take accountability and not sit in it for too long. So with Matt, when he makes a mistake, and I discussed this on my page's perspective last week, and I don't know if you listened to it or not, but
I haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah, it was about self-love. No, you haven't.
Yeah, I have.
Oh, we had a weird weekend. Anyway, I talked about how you are really good at whenever you make a mistake, you own it. You don't sit in it for too long. You acknowledge it. You'll take accountability, and then you just move the F on. Like you don't let it define you. You don't let it become you. And I love that. I think that's great, but I think that's hard for a lot of people, especially when they're overwhelmed.
Yeah, I don't have the studies in front of me. I'm just using my common sense and observations I've made over the years. I think this is something that a lot of times women will struggle with, and I think that men do rather simply.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had to guess like what's behind that, I think that women are more attuned emotionally, and that's an amazing thing. It's needed. You have to have that emotional awareness. I think that men are more pragmatic about things and more like solutions driven.
Yes.
Where it's more about what's the solution? Let me just fix the problem and move on to the next problem. And I think in extremes, both are bad.
Or avoidance.
Right. Or avoidance. You're right. It turns into avoidance if you're not looking at the why.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't go back and dissect your emotions that led up to that, then you're probably going to make the same mistake again.
Right.
I would guess. So, but I think it's pretty split. And the reason I think it's relevant is because most of our listeners are women. And so I think that it's really tough for a lot of women to have some kind of an issue like this and struggle with something and make a mistake and then not kick their own ass for a month or 2 months or 3 months and feel guilty and then ruminate and sit in it and then spiral and then let that affect other areas of your life, which then deepens the spiral. Whereas I think a lot of people, like a lot of guys, I'll just say guys, can have a problem and it's like, wow, okay, so I made a mistake. What's the next thing I should do? Then we were raised differently in a lot of ways too. Like maybe it's changing now, but 80s and 90s, like boys don't cry, shut the F up, fix it and move on.
I don't think it's necessarily a gender thing either though. And I just wanted, this kind of came to my brain. I'm thinking about our kids. Okay. Our daughter is a lot like you.
You're right. She is.
She'll have a mistake, she'll make it, and she moves on. She does not sit in it. Our son is different. He's like me. He will sit in that. He will beat himself up. He will feel like he's like not doing anything right. He's very emotionally driven.
Yeah.
So I just think it's different there.
Yeah, there's exceptions for sure. No doubt. Yeah, we've been complete opposites on this our whole lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have.
I make a mistake and I'm like, damn, that sucks. That was stupid. Why'd you do that? All right. Think about why I did it. And then I sit there for a second and then I'm not going to do that again. And I will fix it. I'll take accountability for it. I'll own it. I'll make proper apologies if they're due. And then I just move on. Yeah.
But I think that there are some people who will say that they made a mistake and then they'll apologize for it, but then there's no change that goes along with it.
Yeah. The best way to
that's where the avoidance comes on.
There's so many guys that do this.
Yeah.
So many guys that do this. Like I messed up. A lot of times it's just to placate you, to get you to be quiet too. It's not even really like a sincere apology. They know that they're in trouble. They know they got caught or whatever it might be, but they're not really understanding the depth of why what they did was hurtful or wrong.
Yeah.
And so they're just more or less to placate the situation. They'll just say, I'm sorry. I know a lot of dudes like this.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem sincere about it. And they seem like, they can put on the pouty face and sort of like phantom kick their own ass, but they're not really.
No.
And not really thinking about what they actually did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And just to get you to be quiet, just to placate you, to make you just leave them alone.
You said before that shame was a big factor in you getting sober.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you feel that you sat in shame? That shame.
I wrote about it in a newsletter this week.
Yeah, you did.
The night before I got sober, I was walking up and down the Las Vegas Strip and I was kicking my ass so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like I failed. I'm one of those people. I cannot fix this on my own. I cannot believe that I've lied to her. I don't deserve the life I have. She's going to leave me and I wouldn't blame her for it. And it was like that whole night. And then, I don't know, not even 24 hours, like a short period of time, not even 24 hours. And then I was, okay, listen, I still have a chance here to right the ship. And if there's a chance, I'm going to take it. And I'll do whatever I have to do to possibly make this right. And I'm just going to do it. There's still a light at the end of the tunnel. I can fix this. I can make this right. I can live a better life. Let's go. And it was like, just like that. It wasn't even 24 hours.
What about whenever you figured out the harm that you had done to
like learning
me
about
within,
like my past abusive behaviors.
Yes.
And like without even recognizing like really what abuse was.
Right.
Man, that was probably a little bit longer actually. That was probably over the course of, but it wasn't that long still. We're talking about the course of maybe a month or so off and on, feeling pretty terrible about the things I'd done and really ruminating on them and thinking about them. But I think that was more about processing it so that I could really examine the full breadth of the different behaviors that fall into that bucket called abuse.
Yeah.
So I could understand them so I wouldn't repeat them again and understand like where they came from and what they were tied to. Is that selfishness? Is that ego? Is that control? What is that, you know? So it took a little longer to dissect it, I think, as opposed to just like going to rehab and maybe a month, but it wasn't like every day I'm mad at myself. Like I would have moments that day where I was more proud of myself that I was addressing it than I was upset with myself that I had done it.
Okay.
I felt terribly for you, never bad for myself at any moment.
You didn't? You didn't feel like...
And still when I talk about it, like on the show and stuff, like you'll see me get choked up and that's as genuine as can be. I hate what I've put you through and I hate that I caused you pain, but I also understand that no matter what, like at some point in a relationship, you're going to hurt each other. You're going to cause each other pain. I hate that mine was so public.
Yeah.
Kind of made it that way, but I hate that it's, but I also think that the reason we talk about it's because like if I can be an example for other people of how to start over and walk through that without beating yourself up like you don't deserve love or you don't deserve a family or anything, like what's like, no, I can be the example for people to show you how to start over, acknowledge this stuff, hold safe space for people so they can talk about how they were hurt without you getting offended by it, like understanding that there's a basis of love underneath it, and then just working to be better. Like you can put things behind you, you know, like I like in the beginning when I first got sober, I remember getting introduced to the 12 steps. And the 12 steps, a lot of people find them problematic for sort of like these culty reasons, like dogmatic reasons. Like it's too rigid in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's what I needed at the time to get sober.
Absolutely.
My stance has changed on it a little bit, but not fully. I still understand the value in it. Mm-hmm. But I look at, there's a million ways to get sober. And I think that they're all fascinating and interesting and applicable to different people depending on kind of what your taste is. But when it came to 12 steps, like this idea that like you're always this alcoholic, a lot of people felt shame from that. I never did. I never felt shame saying like I'm an alcoholic, but a lot of people are like, I don't want to identify as an alcoholic for the rest of my life. Like that's kind of absurd. Like I had a problem, I corrected it, and now I get to live my life. Like we don't live for recovery. We recover so we can live.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a really interesting perspective. I started to think about it more and more and more. And like, I totally get that now. Like if you were an ex-smoker, like you don't identify yourself as like an ex-addict or anything else, you know, like
right.
if you,
it's just a part of you that doesn't need to be fully you.
You get a speeding ticket, like you're not a speeder for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know, it's really weird. And it's kind of strange. It's like, is this like, I don't remember what it's called. Like you ever see Angels and Demons? Dan Brown movie?
Oh, I didn't see the movie, no.
Or Da Vinci Code? There's this guy who takes this cat of nine tails and he whips himself in the back with it. It's like self-masochistic behavior. It's, I don't know.
Like just hurting himself because he did something wrong?
Yeah, like for his sins and stuff.
Okay.
It's like, why do we need to do that?
Why do we need to beat ourselves up?
I think you can beat yourself up for a little bit and get the same effect. It's more about acknowledgement about what needs to change moving forward. It's much more important. If you think about it, I have the next, so we're 12 years in. Let's say that I live an average lifespan of a male of like 70 years or something like that. Mm-hmm. You know, I've got another 30 years that should be focused on what comes next, how to make this better. And there's really no time to be looking back and say like, I need to be kicking my own ass for the things that I've done.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Like why is that productive?
Right. That makes sense.
You have to acknowledge it. You better acknowledge it and it better be sincere if you're going to because you won't actually do the work to repair it if it's not sincere, if
Right.
it's not genuine and authentic. But I think there's no sense in kicking your own ass for that long. There's just really not.
Yeah, but a lot of the treatment and recovery world out there will try to remove that shame so you don't get stuck in it for too long, or even like not have that feeling at all. But with you, it kind of helped you, but you were able to get out of it much quicker than a lot of people seem to get out of it, I guess. I mean, is that normal? Like, do a lot of people sit in their shame for a long time whenever they're an addict or an alcoholic?
There's a lot of people that do.
Yeah.
A lot of people do. And I think this is probably, I don't have a story like that or an opinion on it necessarily, because I guess what you could consider in the grand scheme of things, a sort of a high bottom addict, which is funny. Steve always laughs so hard when I say that, because he's like, you were taking like 50 pills
I know, you were
day.
you were going to die if
Like,
you did not get fucking help.
What do
so
you mean
it's
high
crazy.
bottom?
But you didn't lose your job. You didn't go to jail. You didn't lose your family. You didn't lose the things that, were precious to you or anything within your life.
That's what I mean. And
right.
so oftentimes when you have those sorts of things happening, you're going to feel a deeper sense of shame and regret and remorse and pain, right?
Right, because there's a lot of harm that's been done, not just to yourself, but to others as well.
And then I think that you can start to believe the voice in your head that says that you're not good enough and that you don't deserve to live a good life and that this is who you are. You're a scumbag.
Well, I get that just
POS.
from making simple mistakes. I think it's the wiring of some people's brains.
I was going to say, I think that some people are wired up that way a little bit, where they're a little harder on themselves. And that's why I asked you the question, do you think it came from childhood, or do you think you're just sort of wired this way?
It could be because I'm just wired this way and it's something that I have to learn. But you know how you say this on the show a lot. You'll say that you're a slow learner, or you'll sometimes think that you don't really have much of a place here, or like you say that I'm the star of the show or whatnot.
You're the star of the show.
Okay. Well, I want you to understand that what you just described is very important for those out there that are struggling, and we need you. People need you. I need you. There are people who sit in their shame for way too long, and you're able to help them get out of that and like make something of themselves and feel better about themselves. You do that for me. You've taught me that. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
I've never really thought about that.
So you are extremely important for the content that we make and the message that we're spreading, because you have a different outlook that is so beautiful and so empowering and so helpful for people who struggle with this.
I think it's the craziest thing in the world to me personally that you would treat yourself like that. I think it breaks my heart, because I know that the people that beat themselves up like that are oftentimes the most well-intended, good-natured, kind-hearted people in the world. And they would never speak to a friend that way. Mm-hmm. They would never talk to their best friend that way had they made the same mistakes. But here you are telling yourself that.
Yeah.
What was that thing that Williamson came up with? It's like the reverse golden rule.
Oh, I don't know.
It's like treat yourself. It's do unto others as you would have done to you. Okay, so it's like treat yourself like you wish others would have treated you.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah, like treat yourself like you're someone that you're responsible for caring for. You are worthy of love. You're worthy of a comeback story, and you're worthy of rebuilding. There's no rule that says that once you make a mistake, that's it. I know that there are people out there who would like you to think that, and they're generally hurt, and that's coming from a place of being hurt. Mm-hmm. And that's their way of letting others know that it's not okay to hurt people. But it's not to say that people don't make mistakes. Every single person, including those people, have made mistakes.
Yeah.
And we would all like to be forgiven for our youth and for our mistakes. If we can't have comeback stories and there's no such thing as redemption, then what's the point?
Yeah.
I think I went off on a clip in that one time because I'd seen some TikTok comments that week about, there's some people that have this opinion that if you've screwed up in a relationship, if you've ever been abusive in the sense, not just physically abusive, but invalidating or uncaring, emotionally abusive to somebody, that you're not worthy of being in a relationship. You're not worthy of having someone else's love. Like there are people who don't think that I'm worthy or I deserve your forgiveness or love. That's horseshit to me. That's complete horseshit.
Yeah.
I think that there is a point at which you have to protect yourself if someone's continually hurting you.
Oh, for sure.
But if people are willing to make things right, man, like there's those are the people with the scars, and those are the people who have the greatest lessons to tell in life because they've been to the other side and screwed up. That's another thing I think about mistakes is like, it's like Churchill's take on failure and success. He said that success is going from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm. That's how you ultimately succeed. You get there, you learn so much more from your mistakes than you ever will from succeeding. Because every time we succeed, we generally think it was because of fluke. It was because of something outside of my control. It wasn't because of me. It was because of some accident. You know, I got lucky or whatever it might be. But when we make mistakes, we learn, we fix that thing, and then we're better because of it. That's how we learn. Like babies fall over all day long. Like what if babies decided never to walk the first time they fell over?
Yeah. I mean, I can preach that all day long, but there are times where I just get so stuck in my mistakes where I feel like that's just who I am and I'm not going to be able to do better.
Do you really think that you're not allowed to make mistakes?
No, I know that I'm allowed to make mistakes, but I'm just, like you said, it goes back to being a perfectionist. And where it's like, okay, this is where it really stems from too, is being hypocritical. I don't want to be a hypocrite.
Why is that the worst thing that you could be?
I don't know. Isn't that weird? Like being a hypocrite is like, I think this is something that maybe has been ingrained in me somehow. And I've had to unpack it and unravel it and just try to like, shift my mindset that we're all hypocritical in a way. Like it's like we're all hypocrites to some extent.
Hypocrite's such a terrible term to give to what I would describe learning. If you are growing and changing your opinions over time, I think that you're just being honest that you've learned something new and you've acknowledged that you were wrong about something that you didn't have the full story on or whatever it might be. And that's okay. I like that in people. That's a beautiful characteristic to have. But hey, I was wrong about that because I didn't quite understand it at the time.
Yeah.
And I've since changed my opinion. We all should reserve the right to change our minds about things.
Yeah, you taught me that too.
So to be a hypocrite, I think that a lot of times learning, just simply learning and making mistakes is labeled hypocrisy when it's just learning. That's just how we learn. We screw up, we get burned on the stove, and then we go about our business.
Well, it probably goes back down to like black or white thinking too.
Oh yeah, there's a little distortion at play there.
There's some distortion there. Yeah, but and this kind of makes me think about where we keep asking why I'm like this or where it came from or how like where it stemmed from, and I honestly don't really care. I think I'm on a path of more of how to fix it and how to change it and how to be better about it. And for me, that's recognizing that it is a mistake, that it isn't a pattern. And if it is a pattern, then I can own it and I can do better and I need to apologize. I can take accountability and just take it one mistake at a time instead of completely trying to figure out why it is that I did what I did. But I know that I have to know why I did what I did.
They're both important.
Yes. Yeah. But I don't like to go down that. I think I need to do the how first before I go down the why.
Yeah, why is important, but why takes longer. You can start how right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the discussion that kind of spurred this whole episode in the beginning, was we talked about bouncing back from mistakes, and you will spend 95% of your time ruminating on why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep doing this? Which is an inner exploration of childhood and trauma, or these expectations that you put on yourself, or these misinterpreted expectations of people around you, or whatever it might be. Or how is simply what I described, which is you're worthy of love. Tell yourself that. Put it on a Post-it note.
Yep, I did.
That you're allowed to make mistakes. I'm allowed to learn, and I'm allowed to say that I was wrong and I'll do better.
Yeah.
And walk forward.
Right.
That can be done right now. You don't need to know the why to do that.
Yeah.
Equally important, though, to understand the why long term. But you can figure that out while you're doing the how. Oh,
for sure. Yeah. I agree with that. I was just thinking about, like, I think that our kids do this a little bit too, with the whole scared to make a mistake. And I don't think it's because of me necessarily having high standards for them or not allowing them mistakes. It's almost like it's just been passed down. It's in our DNA.
So much.
Some things
so many
are
traits
just
are heritable,
genetic.
Man.
Yeah.
So much is heritable.
It's crazy.
Like there are psychologists out there that will say, like, I forgot, there was one recently, I can't remember what it was, but he had some like insanely high percentage. It was like 80% of your traits are heritable. Like, I'm convinced of it's not just like a small portion. He believes in nature much more than nurture.
Yeah.
He's like, he's been doing it for a long time. That was just an interesting take. But there's something to that. There's something to that's just in your wiring.
But as I teach them the how, I'm teaching myself the how as well.
It's wonderful.
Which
right?
is kind of cool. And I like that. I like using it as a learning experience for both of us, like for all of our kids and for myself. I think that's really fun to play with that.
So let's say that we've had an argument and for the longest time you have ripped me for being emotionally aggressive, abusive in other sorts, like yelling or screaming or talking over you or cursing or something like that.
Okay.
And now I've learned and I'm calm and I'm chill, but you do it to me and then I bring it up. How long are you going to beat yourself for it?
A while. Yeah.
You know that I love you and that you deserve forgiveness and that I don't care. You ain't hurt my feelings. I used to do it too. I know why you do it.
Why don't you take things personally?
Because it's more about the other person than it is about me.
I look up to that so much. It's a quality of yours that you've had forever that I think is really beautiful.
Well, let me ask you the reverse. Why do you take things so personally?
High standards, I guess. I don't know.
If someone says something to you, like internet, like being a content creator is not easy. There's so many mean people on the internet that will just say whatever the hell they feel like saying.
Yes, they're brave behind the keyboard. Mm-hmm.
They get so upset because your phone or your computer is like your personal space. It's almost like with people when they get road rage, like the view of your windshield is, they think of it as their space. So when you violate their space, you have made some sort of personal affront to their safety, you know? So when one of our videos shows up on their phone, it's like, this is my phone. And this person is saying something I disagree with. And they come after you and they say something hateful.
Yeah.
Why would you take it personally?
I just think because it's not necessarily taking it personally. It's just, no one likes to be talked ugly to. Like nobody likes to feel that way. I don't know. I mean, it just stings. It's not nice.
It sucks when someone,
especially when you put your time and effort into something that's very important and you're very passionate about, and then they just take one little clip and they think that they have you all figured out. It's like that stings. It sucks.
But that says so much more about the person leaving the comment than it does you.
Yeah, it does.
What it says about the person making the comment is that they're not as smart as they think they are. And it's pretty apparent that they think they can sum someone up from a 30-second video, because someone with half a brain could know that there's more context to this clip, most likely because content creators pull stuff out of context intentionally to drive engagement. So they're already being played by the algorithm and don't know it. That's my first sign this is a dumbass.
Okay.
My second sign is that oftentimes they're projecting personal things that have happened in their own past. A breakup that they've been through. A lot of like the people that, if there's a lot of like woman haters and man haters that are on social media and you see them beefing a lot, it's because of things that have happened in their own life. And they're projecting their own feelings about their ex or whoever it is onto you on the screen.
Yeah.
So it also tells me that you haven't done a very good job at resolving whatever inner conflict you have. What it tells me is that this is a person that's unwell, and whatever they're saying is coming from a place of pain in their own life, and it ain't about me. It's about them.
Yeah.
Often I think of interactions like in work and stuff too. Like I got chewed out by a guy on Thursday, called me screaming at me, wanting me to pay a fine that he had gotten. Had nothing to do with me, but he was really upset. And so as he's screaming at me and yelling and saying all kinds of nasty things, I'm thinking to myself, he's probably had a really difficult day. This is someone who was probably raised in an environment where this is how you handled conflict. So I can have some empathy and compassion for him. This is someone that doesn't take personal accountability for anything. It was totally his fault. It had nothing to do with me. But as he's screaming at me, I'm not getting my feelings hurt. I'm just feeling worse for him. I'm like, how can I be helpful to this guy, man? He's fucking struggling. Like, that sucks to be him. That's what I think of. I'm like, I think more like, damn, this person's not in a good way.
I think that you're exposed to it a lot more because of your line of work, and I'm not exposed to stuff like that.
Could be, yeah.
So whenever I'm exposed to it a lot more, like on the internet or whatnot, it just stings a little bit more because I'm not exposed.
Yeah,
like in my everyday life. Plus, I don't think that we're wired to take on shit like that all the time.
Too.
We're not supposed to be reading that stuff. We're not supposed to be bullied or whatnot from multiple people.
For every 20 comments, 19 of them are positive.
Yeah.
And that's the one that we have a negativity bias sort of built into our brains. And that's what we want to focus on.
Yeah.
Is the one and how bad that hurts. disregarding all the wonderful stuff, you just dropped something.
I dropped my pen. I found another one though.
I don't know. I don't take things personally like that.
You're like a golden retriever. Ridiculous.
Yeah, like I've always told Paige, I'm like a golden retriever. Like I can screw up and you can smack me with a newspaper and I'll scream and cry and run out of the room. But a couple moments later, I'm going to come back in wagging my tail, like ready to play again.
Yeah, but the difference is, okay, we're wired differently, which we've already figured that out. I'm very observant though, and I am able to recognize like when boundaries are being crossed or when somebody has a pattern that is negative or they're not changing. You're not that great at that. You're more of like looking at each one and like, oh, they made a mistake. Oh, they made a mistake. Oh, they made a mistake. Instead of like, okay, this is a pattern and there's no accountability here. So I think that's where. As
someone who has made a lot of mistakes, I have too high a tolerance for people to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Or maybe yours is too low.
Could be. Yeah.
Mine's too high.
Yep.
Way too high.
Yeah.
And because of that, I end up getting in situations where I get hurt more.
We're so opposite. It's crazy. I think that's why it works. So
yeah. Make
that yin and yang work.
So I know that you've been working on this, not beating yourself up as much. What are some of the things you've been doing?
I've just been acting. I've been being more positive towards myself. Not sitting too long in any mistake that I make. Like let's say that I have a bad tone in my voice whenever I'm talking to you, it's a problem when I'm overstimulated. That's a totally different episode. I feel when I'm overwhelmed, my tone is pretty bad. And I know that and I acknowledge it and I feel bad about it, but I'll apologize for it. And then I will just try to do better next time, even though I know I keep fucking up. It sucks.
Well, that sounds like common sense, but you have to consciously tell yourself this?
Yeah.
It's not like your first thought.
No.
Your first thought's to kick your own ass.
Yeah, my first thought is, shit, I messed up. Especially with the kids. Oh my gosh, yes. When I totally mess up, when I'm like lose my mind on them, I have to pause because I'm like, I can't believe that I just did that. That is not what I am about. That's not the kind of parent I want to be. And then I've recognized, like, again, that it's because I'm overwhelmed. I know why I did it. But I apologize. I own it. And then I start taking action onto what I can do to remove that feeling of being overwhelmed to where I'm going to do that in the first place. So I start taking things away that I don't want to be, like less social media. I work out more. I go back into my my self-care. I dig deeper into that. I go hardcore on that instead of focusing on why I effed up and being overstimulated. And that's what I do.
Do you think you take yourself too seriously sometimes?
Yes, I do.
I was just wondering, like I've always said you do, but do you really think you do?
Yeah. Look, I want to be a good mom. I want to be a good wife. I want to be a good person. And when I screw up, I feel like I have to start back at square one for some reason.
Well, if the bar to being a good mom is here, you're like here. And
I don't
you feel like if you drop
way.
To here, you failed somehow, but you're still doing so good.
I fear that I'm going to be like certain moms that have truly screwed up, and I'm scared that I'm going to be like that.
Like that lady in Utah who's in jail now?
I ain't going to do that. That's fucked up. I'm not even going to go down that route.
That was messed up. Netflix.
I think that also
Hulu. Check
just
that one
being, I don't, those are so sad. But I think that just being in a relationship with an addict and going through all of that stuff, and then you have children, you really do have a lot of you have to set those expectations high for yourself to make sure that you don't completely screw up your children so that they don't do what you went through.
Oh, that makes sense. So being on the other side of it.
Yes.
You have a different outlook on that. That makes total sense.
Yes. Because I don't think that I was always like this. Like I think it was kind of part of me, but being in a relationship like this, it opens up your eyes to something completely different, to what the possibilities, the dangers, yeah, and what can happen. So that really keeps me on edge, and that makes me push myself a little bit more. So then when I do screw up, I'm like, oh shit, I they're going to go be an addict now. It's like,
they're going to go be abusive to somebody.
Yeah. Or they're going to be mean to somebody. Yeah. So it's a lot of pressure is what I'm getting at. There's a lot of pressure.
Sort of all or nothing thinking too, though.
It is. So I'm trying to find that balance.
I think you're doing a great job. I know that it's been tough here, especially in the last like year. More exposure that we get, it just feels like more criticism than it does anything.
That's not, the criticism isn't what
But I
bothers
think it
me.
just makes you reflect a lot more. It just makes you so much more self-aware, which can get really exhausting.
Yes.
Especially for someone you're already highly sensitive. You already have more mirror neurons than the average bear, and you're already thinking and feeling deeper than I do. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's part of it too. Maybe I just feel less than you. I don't know.
That's what I think. I think that you like...
Ignorance is bliss. Honey.
I don't know. Maybe you don't have the emotions that I do. I'm pretty emotional. I'm a pretty emotional person.
I have emotions. Don't get me wrong. I have emotions. I have to... I'm bad about this. Just because I know that it's more acceptable for men to be emotional, I still think makes people uncomfortable when guys are emotional. Mm-hmm. Last night when we were watching Moneyball and there was that scene,
I started bawling my eyes out.
Well, I had to walk off because I started crying too.
No, you didn't.
And I do this all the time, but I've always hid it from you.
Why?
I don't know, man. It's just like I'm just like freaking ingrained in me.
But I hide whenever I cry during movies too. But you know why I did that.
Yeah.
I got better at that though.
Right. But I don't know. I think that it's just hyper emotional guys make people uncomfortable. And I'm not saying it's fair. I just think it's true.
Yeah.
So I think you just kind of have to suppress it as a dude. Like it's weird because I know that I needed more to be more emotional, but I'm still kind of learning where that line is.
I think you do a pretty good job at balancing it out.
Between like what keeps me moving forward, what keeps me learning more about myself and about the people around me and how to express love and receive love. And also sort of like these societal guardrails that are in place and like how emotional can you be as a guy? Like whenever you've screwed up or talking about screwing up, like how emotional can you be before it becomes like a total turn off to people and they start to think that you signal unreliability or instability or anything like that, you know?
Damn.
Like
another conversation.
But for guys, I think it's tough because I think for the longest time, the answer to that was any bit of that and signals that you're unstable and you're not reliable and you're not stoic enough or whatever it may be. And it's like, dude, I'm just having normal human emotions over here. Am I not allowed to do that?
Right.
You know, so I think I'm still trying to figure out like where that line is.
Yeah. I think you're doing a good job though.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I try.
Okay. So
I think you are too, by the way.
Thanks. You help with that. Okay. So you kind of asked me like how I do this or how do I get out of that spiraling? And it's more on, I take responsibility instead of defending my behavior. Ooh. So I could say something like, I see how my tone was, I wish I would have handled it better. Or, that tone wasn't okay, no matter how I was feeling. I'm not proud of that moment and I'm working on it. And, I do that with the kids all the time. I apologize. Like I'm sorry that I did this, but I do find myself not necessarily justifying it, but explaining why I did it. Saying like, I've just been so overwhelmed lately and I lost my mind. I apologize, but I'm not doing it to justify it. I'm doing it to basically, or not defend it. It's more of just like explain why I lost my cool.
Yeah, I think that's totally human.
Okay.
And normal.
Well, I think it's important for them to even recognize, maybe since she's overwhelmed, if I get too overwhelmed, this is why I react that way.
Yeah, it's important to know, I think for like kind of back to the point, it's like you're not a monster if you make a mistake, and explanations can offer some insight as to why we do the things we do. Because if you don't think that there's a reason for it, then you're just liable to think that you're just a maniac or a bad person or you're defective or something. I think that it's also appropriate sometimes and not others. I think that if you've ever been physically abusive, you need to say, I lost control and that is not okay.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
As
no, I
opposed to like,
understand that.
well, you looked at me funny.
Well, yeah, but that's like blaming someone else.
You made fun of my haircut.
So that's blaming somebody else for your actions.
Yeah.
And that's different. Whenever I do this, I don't blame the people around me for why I'm acting.
You're
like
explaining
I don't
what was going on inner world.
My inner world. Like this is what I'm doing. This is why I reacted this way. This is why I said this. I don't blame my children whenever I lose my cool.
Man, I think that's actually helpful because like you said, it lets them know too. Like, oh, okay, so we can make mistakes. These things can happen.
Yes.
And then if you walk it back a step, it's also when I start to feel like she described, more than likely I will do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So then if I can stop it there, then I can prevent the thing from happening too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And I also like I've said it on this show many times. Like if you want to learn about something, read about it. If you want to understand something, write about it. If you want to master something, teach it. Whenever you're talking out loud, you're teaching yourself and the other person a little bit about you and about just human nature. And how is that not helpful? I would like to hear an argument for why that's not helpful.
Right.
I can't imagine why it wouldn't be.
No.
If you're not trying to justify or blame.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like here, you share some of this blame too with me. It's not like that. If you're just explaining like, this was my thought pattern. I'm not a monster. This is just what I'm working on. That makes sense. I think that's great. That's communication.
I think it's a formula. I have a formula.
Okay. What is it?
And I've just now like recognized it. I apologize for it and own it. I apologize and own what I did. I actually say what I did. And then I'll say why I did it. And then I will say, I'm going to do better. I promise to do better. I will work on this going forward. There was something that I did that's basically the formula. But now then there's the action. Didn't follow up with action. You have to prove it with action. The words don't mean shit.
Yeah, the best behavior or the best apology is change behavior.
Our daughter called me out a couple of weeks ago.
Ooh.
I did something and obviously it was a pattern. It's not a mistake. She noticed my pattern. She's 12, by the way. And she noticed that I had done something that I had already apologized for, that I had promised to do better, that I had already explained to her. I used that formula multiple times, but I did it again. And she called me out on it. And she said, you said that you would stop doing this and you're doing it again. You did it again. And I was like, oh shit.
How'd you react?
At first, honestly, I think I was a bit defensive. To be real. As a human, you know, like I think it stung. I think it was just more of like, you know, when you get that sting, you do it too. I've seen you with the kids.
I'm sitting here nodding.
Like, because you know what kind of feeling. Yeah, you do. I think we all do it as parents. I think we all do it in general. Whenever somebody calls you out, you want to defend yourself. And that's the first reaction that you want to do.
Yeah, because your first reaction is generally, but what about all the good I do?
Yes.
And you're really focusing on this right now, you know, because it seems minor to us, but obviously it means something to them.
It's important to them.
So it's important to us.
It is important.
Important
and
to us too.
It was important to her. It was. I know it was. I know it was something that went against my values. It's not who I wanted to be. I didn't like it. And I think I wanted to defend myself, and I probably did. And then I paused maybe for about 5 to 10 minutes, and we discussed it again. And I think that since we've had that conversation, it's really stuck to where I'm really trying to change. That's when I probably stopped getting on social media so much, or, you know, I knew that something within my life had to change because I was too overwhelmed that I kept screwing up the same thing over and over again, to where something in my life had to change in order for me to take action to change.
Yeah. You highlight something that's so important there in that story you told, which is, we can oftentimes give the appearance that we are taking accountability. We can give the appearance that we hear what you're saying. We can give the appearance that we care. But really caring is doing what you just described, which was I had to limit my time on social media. I had to take a step back and like brick my phone or do whatever I had to do so I would stop this, because I'd already taken accountability. I do feel badly, but I've done nothing in actualization to change it.
Yes.
So there's so much of this that's performative, and that stuff is important. People need to know that you hear them.
Yeah.
But it's just words.
Yeah. It doesn't mean shit.
It's the actual action that's where the rubber meets the road. And that's the difference between people that I think really get this and do this and they change and they don't hate themselves too. I think that there's something to that piece of it that you mentioned earlier. Like, how do you not kick your own ass? Whenever I do something and I've screwed it up, I work really hard at changing that behavior. And so when I change the behavior, I have a sense of pride in myself.
Yes.
And so I can fall back on that and be like, you can say what you want, but I've changed. Like, I've actually done this stuff. I've sacrificed things that I wouldn't normally do. New behavior, very uncomfortable. I have that scar. I have that tattoo now that says like, I've changed. And regardless of what you say, like, I can fall back on the fact that I know that I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So you can say what you want, but I'm doing it. You know?
Yeah. It's the action.
Yeah. And generally people won't call you out if you're doing it. But you're right. There's something to that last piece, which is the most crucial piece of all.
That is why the why is important for me.
Ooh.
That's why the
Makes
why
total sense.
and things are important to me, because I can sit here and tell you all day long that I need to change or I want to change, but I don't know what to change until I recognize what it is that's making me do these things. And typically it's because I'm overwhelmed and I need to take something away, or I need to work on my self-care and be better at what, or focus on what is most important, which right now is my inner circle and my family and my children and being a mom. I was losing touch with that.
Yeah.
And she called me out and held me accountable.
She held you accountable. And that works really well when there's mutual respect, not so much whenever things are tenuous, things are difficult, when there's...
But it also is going to take, what sucks about this is that it is going to take time to build that trust back up.
Sure.
She's not going to trust me for a while with some things. Like I might make a mistake that could be different than that, but she's not going to trust me for a while until I actually prove to her that I've changed. And that could take months, that could take a long time.
It could take years.
Yeah, it could. But I'm not beating myself up over this. Honestly, I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful she called me out. I'm grateful that she held me accountable, and I'm grateful that I didn't just sit in it and I made action and changes to do something better going forward.
Yeah, I think about the same thing over the course of our relationship and the million things that I've been called out on. And when I get defensive, it's generally because I've acknowledged it, but I haven't done anything about it. And you're reminding me again, you still haven't done anything about this.
Mm-hmm.
You can be balanced with the family or something. Like when I first got sober, I was focused a lot on myself and trying to fix myself. And I think that you do have to do that. But
Agreed.
it sucks for the family. And you need to be empathetic and understanding of that. And you need to do your best to balance your recovery, even though it comes first, with the fact that you have a family that needs to come first and a half, like right there, like 1 and 1A, basically, not 1, 2, 1 and 1A. Remember you telling me like you need to balance, like you got to figure it out. And I'm just being so overwhelmed. Like I'm trying is more or less me saying like, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
But I'm not really doing anything about it.
Right. But maybe you don't know what to do because you don't know your why yet.
Well, I think for me, it was literally, I still don't know the why. I just put it into action. I was like, okay, I'm going to change my workout times. Just be pragmatic. First thing in the morning.
But that was your why though. You had too much time on working out. And you spent too much time
in self.
In self. Right. Yes. Yeah. That's your why as to why you're not being present. Yes. You're being present with them. So then you were able to make those changes.
Yeah, you're right. But it's generally like I get defensive whenever I'm thinking about it. I've acknowledged it's a problem. I haven't really done anything about it quite yet. Like not in actuality, not like practically done something about it.
Yeah.
More or less just really thought hard about it.
Yeah. Okay, so the end of this section was like the intent versus impact. Just because you didn't mean to hurt someone doesn't mean that you didn't do it, which we talk about all the time. So that's what the apology is for. Use that formula to help you own your shit and not drown in your shame.
Yeah. Where are we at there? Oh my gosh. Okay. Hey, huge shout out to today's sponsor, Soberlink. We've changed the way we're doing these ads, and so it's new for me. Soberlink's been an amazing partner for our show since day one. We're talking a lot about accountability and intent and actually changing something in this episode. I think this pairs perfectly with Soberlink and what they do. If you're not aware of what Soberlink is, it's a breathalyzer device. It is one that helps reestablish trust, and it is one that takes the conversation of are you drinking, are you not, completely off the table. If you've been policing someone's drinking, that is not a fun job to have. You don't want that job. Soberlink does. Soberlink is a device that you can schedule testing into, so it's not like they're going to surprise you with anything. You can set up sober contacts, so you've got people in your sober circle and your support circle that get notified whenever you test, and they will say, hey, so-and-so is doing the deal. They are working towards sobriety. They're still doing it. If you've talked about getting sober, if you've told someone you're going to get sober, if you've promised to get sober, but you haven't really done anything about it and you're struggling to do it, Soberlink's a great tool to help reinstill that sense of accountability within you that can help rebuild trust is what we're talking about in this episode. It's incredible. It's a great tool for that. Volunteer to get a Soberlink. Another great way that this is used is in custody battles. If you've dealt with someone and you were frankly feeling unsafe around them, why would you trust your children with them? Soberlink is court admissible in all 50 states and in Canada and trusted by over 200,000 people. Attorneys, judges, court systems are very familiar with it, and this stuff is court admissible. So you can get this stuff built into your custody agreement so that you can be sure that your children are headed somewhere where it is safe, where there is a sober adult of sound mind that can make decisions when it matters. Soberlink can help you get there. Soberlink has been incredibly generous, giving our listeners a 50% off coupon. 50%. If you go to soberlink.com/wheels and enter in your email address, they will send you a code to get it 50% off a device. Again, it's soberlink.com/wheels. Thank you so much to Soberlink. If this sounds like something you might be interested in, give them a shot. Support the companies that support our show.
All right. So we actually went through a whole bunch of stuff already.
Did we really?
We did, like without even recognizing it.
Oh, wow.
But
that's what happens when you have conversations. You don't just follow outlines. That's
great.
I
actually like the conversation. I thought
better.
it was a good.
It's so much better.
Like whenever we talk and not just follow something, it's great. I
Yeah.
love that. Like y'all are getting the real authentic. I mean, you usually get the authentic us every Wednesday anyway.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like this one was pretty raw because it's our life right now. I was just talking to you recently about how I don't go back in time too much. This kind of goes along with shame too, where you don't go too far into the past. Like you've been doing a lot of reflecting lately because it's your 12-year sobriety. This year was different, right?
Yeah, it was.
Like with reflecting.
Yeah, I didn't reflect nearly as much as I normally do. Normally every year, I think it's important to reflect on what got me there, because if I reflect on what got me there, it reminds me of the type of person that I was when this all went down.
Hey, you don't want to do that again.
I don't want to be him ever again. I never want to get to know that guy again.
Right.
I don't want to know what he thinks like, what the world looked like to him, his thoughts and ideas about stuff. I never want to be that dude again. So I have to remember sort of my state of mind around this time of year. And it's in the springtime. There's something poetic about that to me. Everything's coming back to life. I was coming back to life. You know, I was starting to recognize how everything played into one another. And I think the springtime does that. You see the bees pollinating everything and how nature works in on itself. And I just felt connected for the first time in my life. And so every time stuff starts to wake up, and, you know, I get in my feels about it. This year, though, we're so busy in life, which is
with the kids and
it's a beautiful thing. Like
I love this season of life. Honestly.
Every single problem I have today, I prayed I would have. Like these are problems I used to pray to have.
Yeah.
Like, please God, let me have the problem where I can't figure out if I need to go to the dance competition or the baseball game today.
Right.
You know, like please give me the problem that like I'm going to have to.
How am I going to get my kid to this place?
Like, am I going to put my kid at third or fourth in the lineup? You know,
yeah.
Like, how is like that kind of stuff? We have those problems today, man. I think that in itself is a blessing.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah,
and we don't have to go back here very often anymore.
No,
pretty far removed from it, and it's not to say I don't think that we can't be helpful to people that are in it. I think if anything, it should give you hope. It should give you a ton of hope. If you're working and like rebuilding your life in general, whether you're on your own and walking your own path with your children or your family, or if you're just by yourself walking your own path, that what got you to that point won't forever define you.
Nope.
It will become the springboard by which you learned some of the most important lessons that you will ever learn in your entire life that will benefit you for the rest of your life and set you up for, in many cases, in all cases generally, a much more beautiful and fulfilling life. If you're someone who's rebuilding a relationship, like these things don't define you. I think that's what I think I take away anytime I've ever made a mistake. It's like, this doesn't define me. This doesn't get to decide who I will be. And like, even if other people would like to judge me for those mistakes for the rest of my life, like that says more about them than it does me.
Mm-hmm.
That says to me that these are people who probably beat themselves up anytime they've ever made a mistake. These people have very low tolerance for humans in general. You know, not to say that all mistakes are created equal, because they're not. They don't murder anybody or do anything like that. But I just think that there's beauty in the mistakes we make and what we can learn from them. Like we talk about alchemy here a lot. I think that it's so fitting too. I'm going to turn something beautiful out of what was otherwise absolute garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And what's not hopeful about that? What's not beautiful about that?
Yeah.
You know? So for anyone that, like our last episode about being like, I've got a rule, and this is a rule I lived by and a half for a very long time. Never, ever, ever, ever tear someone down without zipping them back up. And so in our last episode, not that we really tore anyone down.
No,
it was a help you have some self-awareness though. Like it was a growth. That's what growth is. That's what growth episodes are. But we wanted to have something where we zip people back up. For anyone that's feeling a little down on themselves about where they're at in their recovery, whether that's from addiction or if that's from any number of behaviors that have led you to a situation where you're tolerating much more than you need to. That is recovery as well. With whatever you're at in your recovery, just to understand how these things aren't bad. These things aren't bad. They're not negative. And as a matter of fact, I find that it's oftentimes in our heads where all the perfect people live. And in reality, there's no such thing. We're surrounded by fallible humans. Yeah. Everyone around you is fallible.
Right.
They present however they want to present. Social media makes it seem a lot more clean cut and groomed than it really is. You go to the office, everyone's dressed a certain way to fit in. No one's talking about their personal shit. Usually there's always that one person in the office. It's always kind of weird, but most people are trying to present a certain way. And so it can make you feel very, make you feel like an outsider, make you feel like you're the only one who's ever made a mistake and that you don't deserve the life that they're living. And that's just bullshit. That's just the lies that we tell ourselves that keep us stuck. It's not helpful for anybody. That's not, like, what purpose would it serve to continually beat your own ass for the rest of your life for screwing up? Like, what purpose would it serve? It just
keeps you stuck.
It keeps you tethered to the problem that caused this in the first place.
Right.
At some point, we have to be ready to move on from them.
Yeah.
And this is something I've heard from people in recovery that have really burned some bridges, is that they are held accountable for the rest of their lives for the things that they did.
Mm-hmm. And
they understand it. They're like, yeah, it sucks, but I get it. I understand that. I've hurt those people and I'll never be able to make that fully right. And they'll just have to live with that. And they've accepted it, because what good does it do to ruminate in it?
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, I mean, let's think about, like, a lot of our listeners, some of them may have some guilt and shame just for sticking around in a situation for way too long.
Yeah.
And you may not recognize that until you're out of it. But that doesn't define who you are. You're going to learn from that, and you're going to learn a lot from that and make better decisions going forward. And it doesn't help you to stay in that shame for too long.
Yeah. That's a really common one where they beat themselves. Like, once they see the true depth of it all, they really want to beat themselves up for having been in it for that long.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know what you don't know.
No.
And how dare you beat yourself up like that?
Right.
Like, you could say that I should have known. Oh, okay, maybe, but you didn't.
Right.
Okay, you didn't. And there's a million reasons why you didn't.
Yeah.
We can talk about the effects of trauma on the brain, trauma bonds, and how that works. We can talk about the environment that you were raised in, what was modeled for you, where you grew up, any number of things. It could be, just generational tendencies that people had to stay together no matter what, whatever. All right, you didn't know, and now you do. Okay, don't beat yourself up for it.
Right. Simplify it.
I think that's what I do. I think I simplify it.
I think you do too, and I think that you turn all of your negative emotions into something positive. Like, it's really about your thoughts. It's about your thoughts, changing your thought patterns and what you, how you think of certain situations. And you do a really great job at making something negative into a positive. You look at it as like, okay, I fucked up. Now what can I do about it? What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? And I think that's great. Do you not think you do that?
No, I'm just wondering where that comes from. I'm wondering if that is a byproduct of recovery, or if that is a vestige, a leftover, if you will, from screwing up and trying to performatively regain trust.
Ooh.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, when you screw up and it's like, no, wait. Like, okay, you ever, like, you had brothers, you were the little one, so you probably didn't have this happen, but I had an older brother and a little brother, and you would get too rough, like fighting or whatever, playing around, and like you would make one of them cry. And it's like, no, be quiet. Like, I'll go get you a Coke. Like, be quiet. Like, don't let mom hear, because you're going to get your ass, kicked if they come out and one of them's crying. I think that there's some element of that. Like, anytime I would hurt you, it's like, let me just make this right as fast as possible by any means. Like, what do you want? Like, can I go get flowers? Like, can I make dinner? Like, can I do all this stuff?
Oh yeah.
And so is it a leftover of that, or is it a byproduct of recovery, or is it a little bit of both? I don't know. As I was just
is it part of your wiring? That's interesting.
I was just sitting here thinking about that. I'm like, I'll probably never get the answer to that.
I don't know. I don't want to overthink that. I just keep doing what you're doing. I don't care why you do it. Just keep doing it because it's very important.
That is much simpler.
I think it's just being simple. I just think that you've simplified so much in your brain that it helps you like move forward. It's almost common sense for you.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. Like I am not as smart as I sound, and I have to simplify concepts to make them digestible for me. Like the simplest form of a concept is like, that's what I need.
Yeah.
The more I complicate things, the more I think about it, and I'll never come up with a solution. We're just playing like philosophical mind games at that point. Mm-hmm. But this is a topic that I really want to cover in some of our workshops. I think this is going to be really, really helpful for couples.
Yeah.
Really, really helpful for couples.
Yeah.
Like how to walk through shame, how to move through shame without continually shaming, and how to actually show change and things like that.
Right.
We haven't announced actual dates on that, but be on the lookout. I don't think we're going to be having any major surgeries this summer. So that leaves us, I don't think so.
I don't know. Today you could have been questioning that.
Knock on wood. Yeah, exercise affected it today. But we're going to hopefully put some dates out there here pretty soon about when we're going to do that. Probably late June, early July. No, July. July for sure, right?
Yeah, not June.
It would be July,
Our
August.
summer's crazy.
If we do it.
Yeah.
It'd be summertime. We'll give you guys plenty of notice. Maybe traveling for one.
Maybe plenty of notice. You know it's April, right?
June, July. Damn. Be on the lookout soon because we got to get our shit together over here.
God, we do need to get our shit together. Okay, so hold on. Before we wrap up, you talked about recovery earlier, and we have our own recovery program called Independently Strong.
We do. Yeah. We packaged a program. We built a program that sort of, if you've enjoyed this episode, how do I get that mindset? That's what Independently Strong is. People ask us all the time, is this for me if I'm in this situation or that situation? My partner's a porn addict and my partner doesn't exactly drink all the time. It's not really about your partner. It's about you. So yeah, it's for you. We look at things through the lens of addiction, growth through the lens of addiction. Addiction is what drew you to us in the first place, but it's not what you need to know more about if you want to live the life that we've been living for the last decade plus. Independently Strong creates agency within you. That is the ability to affect the world rather than having the world affect you. It is the ability to make decisions that align with your values so that you're living from a place of confidence and not fear. Oftentimes it's, should I stay? Should I go? You will know what the right decision is for you and your partner after you work through this. It's got a relationship evaluation, which is kind of the first step in this process where you really make light of everything. What is it? What is it not? Is this abuse? Is it not abuse? Let's be real about the facts of your situation in your life. And we're going to get to the meat of that. We're going to talk about codependency to some degree, also talk about why we disagree with some of this codependency literature that's out there. We're going to talk about boundaries. We're going to talk about building a healthy self. We're going to talk about abuse. We will talk about addiction a little bit.
Trauma bonds,
relationships, and then, a vision for you moving forward. It's a 10 module course, program at your own pace, worked online. And it's amazing. You can get it if you're a busy parent. You're not going to have to be showing up in class, at this time on this day. You do it as you have time for it. You can get 75% off that course if you go to independentlystrong.com and put your code Wheelies75 in at checkout. Again, that's Wheelies75 at checkout. That's a special code for listeners to get 75% off that course. I think it makes it right at $500. And it's a robust course built alongside a licensed therapist. A lot of time, energy, effort, and thought went into this thing. We often get times like, hey, well, why is it not free? Well, I mean, it wasn't free to produce. We have a licensed therapist on board. This is professional advice that you're getting. He's a clinical architect, Dr. Christopher Taylor, owns Taylor Counseling Group. He is on the board, licensing board, state of Texas. We didn't just pick someone out of thin air to throw on this thing. It's a robust course. It's the real deal. We believe in it. We put our heart and soul into it, and we think it's worth 5 times what it's priced at.
Agreed.
So if you have any questions about the course, you can always shoot us an email, info@twofocouple.com. Happy to answer your questions about it, but check it out for yourself, independentlystrong.com. We've also got a website. Check out our website. You can get merch, recovery rocks, newsletter, all kinds of good stuff if you head over there.
TWFO.com.
Yeah, TWFO.com. Check it out. It was built for you guys, and I hope it's helpful.
Yeah.
I think that's all we've got.
That's all we've got.
All right. Well,
don't have any challenges for this week.
I don't either.
Except just next time you feel like you might be spiraling into the shame, question it and just kind of ask yourself, what can I do about this? Don't stay too long.
No sense in that.
Nope.
My advice is take your allergy meds before it gets an infection. That's my advice for you this week. It's that time of year. Take your Flonase, take your Zyrtec, whatever you got to do. All right. Until next time, I am Matt.
I'm Paige.
And we'll see you.
Bye.